Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your continued support. Right, so I spoke about this a while ago in a video, and I know at the time it did concern a lot of you, but at the time it was just a trial. It wasn't something that was necessarily going to be any wider than that. But what I'm talking about is the people that are going to go into GPs offices and mental health units provided by the DWP to help with people getting back to work after they've been either long-term sick or short-term sick. And they did this trial in certain areas of the country where they embedded work coaches. So they're not calling them work coaches, but they are effectively work coaches in GP surgeries and things like that, so that if people are there who the doctor feels could be suitable, then they can speak to these people and they can have training. They can apparently have a virtual interview. They can do there's loads of different things that these people can actually help you and support you with. Now at the time, obviously a lot of people were very unhappy about this because it's not the sort of thing that it's not the sort of thing you go to the doctors for. You go to the doctor for a specific reason, usually because you're unwell, and the last thing you want to do is speak to someone about getting you into work. And the fact that they've mentioned long-term sickness as well suggests that they aren't just going to be targeting those people who've had a few weeks off with a condition or something like that. They're looking at long-term people who've been off work for a while. Now apparently the GP can also refer people to this job coach because if they feel that they are worthy of support, or if they think that they need this type of support. But it's not very good, I don't think, to be having this rolled out wider than it already is. The reason why I'm saying that is because people go to the, as I said just now, people go to the GP for a specific reason. Usually it's because of their health or some other reason related to their health. The last thing they're going to want is to see a work coach in there as well. And personally speaking, this is just my opinion, I think that this will ultimately destroy a little bit of the trust that GPs have with their patients. Because, okay, I'm sure you're not going to get GPs pushing people into the work coach's office or however it works. I'm sure they're not going to be pushing everybody in there, but there could come a point where they might try to put someone into one of these work coaches who don't feel they can do it, or for obvious reasons can't do it, for a long-term illness or something like that. They may get it wrong and they might refer someone who can't work, for example. Now this seems to be a voluntary thing at the moment, but as we all know with not only this government, other governments, voluntary things can often turn into mandatory things. So it's just something that's a very concerning thing, the fact that this was on the trial and now it's going to be rolled out to more places. Pat McFadden has said that this is going to be a help up, not a handout. But I think what we have to be careful of here is that yes, there are going to be some people who are going to want support when they're ill. If they're recovering, they may want to go back to work, might need support to do that. Of course that's the case. And apparently these particular work coaches are going to be specially trained into helping employers support these people with whatever condition they may have. I just think this is setting themselves up to fail, personally speaking, and I think there's going to be a lot of outcry, a lot of pushback on this, because it's going to make people frightened to go to the GP. Because if you've got a long-term illness and you need to see your GP, there's going to be this thought in the back of your mind that you're going to be like, well, am I going to be interviewed by a work coach, or am I going to be referred to a work coach, or how will this affect my benefits? If I speak to the work coach, if they say speak to the work coach and you speak to them, does that mean that affects my benefits? There's all these questions that are going to be going through your mind, and it just seems to me like it's just a recipe for disaster. It really does. I'm going to leave a link to the article down in the description so you can read through it as well. But it just seems to me like this is another rod to beat disabled people with. And while it could help, and probably would help some people, I just think that the doctor's surgery is the last place you're going to go for that kind of support. You go to your job centre. And also, an article which I haven't covered because I haven't had the time, is the fact that a lot of job centres are saying that their work coaches are overworked and can't get disabled people jobs. So how are the people in GP surgeries meant to do something that the work coaches in the job centre can't do? Anyway, that's my rant over. Please do let me know down in the comment section what you think about this. Do you think that this is going to put people off going to their GP surgeries because they're going to be wondering whether they're going to be collared by a work coach? Do you think this is a good way to get people who may be unwell but want to work, to get them back into the work world of work? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. As always, please do subscribe if you've got this far, and I'll see you next time.